This is Sports Lab Overtime.
Yes, he did! Yes, he did!
Presented by Rally House Gainesville on WRUF's YouTube page.
If you come back here, you will improve. We will see you in the league.
This is the most important hire in school history.
Now, it's time for Sports Lab Overtime.
I'm Charlie Jones. That is Luis Rodriguez Combe. You heard it here. This is Sports Lab Overtime, and it is the best time of the year. Final Four. March Madness coming to a close. It is kind of sad. Especially from a Gators perspective, yes, but we'll get to that. This is the best sports period that we have often. I like to argue. I think that March Madness is the perfect postseason out of all of the postseasons of all the major sports. I love March Madness. I grew up on March Madness. This is my favorite time of the sports calendar. And now it all comes to a close. The road to the Final Four has happened. Everyone has taken that road. And now they all meet in Indy. Illinois, UConn, Arizona, Michigan. And it all starts Saturday. Luis, when you think of the Final Four, you think of some of the best stories of college basketball, and I think each one of these four programs that has made it certainly has quite a story on their hands.
Definitely, Charlie. It's good to be with you here. Just watching, I'm thinking, now that you say that might be the best postseason in sports, I'm agreeing with you. I like October. I like baseball. I like that MLB, you know, when it goes to World Series and all that stuff is pretty exciting too. But, yeah. Every time I watch March Madness, there's something that you remember about, either the upsets or the big moments, the shots. Like, for example, UConn against Duke. Or early in round of 64, Kentucky sending it to overtime. That's another one, too. Obviously, Chris Jenkins. You can go way back. Jimmy V, Michael Jordan. It's a lot of great moments. And I'm pretty excited about what we're going to see this weekend. But I'm also sad, Charlie. You know why? Because I'm never going to stop saying that I was supposed to be in Houston, you know? Supposed to be in Houston watching the Gators, seeing what they can do, but it's all good. It happens. I'm getting over it. But I think that any team right here in this Final Four, when it comes down to UConn, Illinois, Arizona, or Michigan, has a really good chance to just win the Natty. These teams are really good. Michigan and Arizona, I personally feel, and I might spoil it, but I think that the champion is going to come out of that side of the bracket just because those two teams are just insane. They got good talent. Arizona is just probably the best. They have been the best team in the nation since the season started. The Gators had a taste of it, and I thought that the Gators were going to have a taste of it in the national championship. And also UConn, just Dan Hurley and all the squad that he has, they just hit the stride in the right time, and they just beat good teams in Michigan State. They beat good teams. And Duke, pretty much, I think a lot of people, I've seen it here in the INC, had Duke as a big favorite to win the Final Four. A lot of people pick him to win the Natty, and mine as well. I mean, they always get the talent, blue bloods. So, but Arizona and Michigan, I'm just pretty intrigued. Just Coa Pete and all the guys here in Arizona, and that Michigan team is just pretty good too. Pretty well coached. So, March Madness. Another madness coming this weekend, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. The Gators are not in it, unfortunately, but we always get good basketball, and I think with how it's looking, we're still going to have some great moments coming in.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. And I like what you mentioned about the Michigan-Arizona game, right? There's so much importance and so much pedigree coming into that game, and especially, I think, with the two coaches, right? You look at Dusty May, you look at Tommy Lloyd. These are two guys who, at times, have reached the highest echelons of college basketball. I mean, Dusty May brought FAU to a Final Four, and you see the videos come out. You talk about the moments and the stories. You see him still thinking about how much it means to reach a Final Four and how much it really means not only to these coaches, not only to these players, to the alumni of these schools, to the fans. This is the type of environment that is really special, that makes us all love sports. Look, we all love sports, and this is that type of environment that you love. And I think the other part of it is the competitive nature that you love in sports, right? You like to see these guys go out and fight and be hungry and show that this is everything to them. And you're going to get that this weekend in Indianapolis. First game is Illinois UConn. That's a 3-2 matchup. That's at 6 p.m. And then Michigan Arizona 1-1 on the other side. Two really good matchups. And I want to start off by saying this before we get to our predictions of what will happen over the Saturday through Monday stretch at Lucas Oil Stadium. I think that UConn isn't getting enough credit. I think, look, everyone gave them their roses for the incredible shot by Mullins. But when you look at it, I think people are saying that maybe they're a little bit lucky to be there, and there's some fair sentiment to that. I think that they're thinking that Illinois is going to run them off the court, though. And I do not believe that a Dan Hurley-led team will be run off the court in Indianapolis. This is a guy that brings that pedigree. This is a guy that brings that experience. This is a guy who, while it may boil over at sometimes, will do anything to win. And I think it's that chip on the shoulder that he's had forever, regardless of how the heights that you reach. Danny Hurley wants to win, and I think that's a force that could carry them to the national championship game. Now, on the other side, Michigan-Arizona, who knows what is going to happen with that game. There's been some interesting stuff on both sides, especially on Michigan's side. The availability of Elliot Cadeau was an interesting thing this week. He had an allergic reaction in practice and was carried out in what basically looked like a body bag.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it looked like he was being carted away, but Michigan's ready and raring to go, and they got the squad to do it. Yaxel Lendeborg is incredibly talented, and on the other side, Arizona's been arguably the best team in college basketball all year, in the best conference in college basketball this year. This is a team that knows how to win against some of the best teams, so they're prepped and ready for Michigan. We have an incredible slate on our hands.
No, it's an incredible slate you just mentioned. I think, UConn is not getting too much credit, I feel, because it's a super hate team. I mean, I'm gonna say it. I hate UConn. I don't like UConn at all. I think Dan Hurley, sometimes his character is way too much. Like, you hear him bumping with the referee, I just think it's insane. But I still respect what they done. I didn't think that they have an easy way to get to the bracket, just because I feel that Michigan State, UCLA, they were good teams. I know they played Furman, but I still think that at the end of the day, you gotta play who you got in front of you to be able to do that stuff. And just taking out a Duke team that's always come with talent. You saw it last year. Con Kneppel, Cooper Flag, they had talent. Every year they got talent. And I know a lot of people are putting a lot of question marks on top of Shire, but also how difficult it is to win, Charlie. When it's one and done, and this is not like the NBA that's the best of 7 that you can make adjustments. It's one and done. And if you're not ready, sometimes you don't hit that stride, and these stuff can happen. So, in my opinion, I don't like them, but well respected. Like you mentioned, I'm looking ahead to that game in the later on Saturday when it comes down to Michigan and Arizona, because I feel that, man, it's just going to be a great matchup. It's going to be an inside battle. I think that both teams are really good on size and strength. They're going to make it way better on the paint. And I just feel like I like that old school basketball, that you can rely on the big guys and being able to just play on the paint. I just enjoy it. I know the 3-pointer is good and everything else, but I just enjoy when you have two centers and power forwards just going at it. It's pretty good. And I also feel that I think that both teams are really, really efficient, if you put it that way, because Michigan in the Ken Palm defensive efficiency, they were top 5 on offense too. So I just think it's pretty good, Charlie, and I cannot wait. Illinois also surprising a lot of people.
Yeah.
Surprising a lot of people. Taking out Houston. I thought personally that Houston was going to be in the Elite 8. Being able to take care of business in Houston, they were not able to. But that's the magic of March Madness, Charlie. You don't know who's going to make it. You might have your favorites, and you might have those teams that you will see this team is really built to win championships or be able to make a long run. But we always going to get those kind of surprises. And I feel that personally, I want to see more surprises. I want to see a crazy shot buzzer beater, or I remember when UConn a couple years ago when they went back to back that they were just dismantling teams. I just feel the way this is playing, anything can win it. But I would just get that side of the bracket where Arizona and Michigan, the number ones, are just too good. And in an NIL era, that I remember we're talking about, Dusty May, how he took FIU to the Final Four. I think that team nowadays, they just realizing that they can keep players and they can do the best team for their team.
Yeah.
And being able to just keep those kind of people and kind of good players to be able to just go out there and compete.
Yeah, no, you're right. But before we put a bow
Yeah.
on this college basketball season and sadly coming to an end, I want to go back to something you said. You talked a little bit about Illinois. I'm in love with the Illinois Fighting Illini. I love Brad Underwood as a coach. I love the band of European heroes and Keaton Wagler that he's assembled. And I especially love the post-game celebrations. Have you seen the Super Soaker celebration?
Super Soaker, yeah.
I got to tell you, I love it. That's what makes college basketball fun. And I think that's stuff that can carry you deep in March, and it has carried them, right? You know, they fight off a home crowd in Houston. They fight off a great team in the Houston Cougars. And man, poor Kelvin Sampson.
I know. I feel
the,
bad
the
for
guy. The guy can't reach the top.
He always got good teams, and he's not able to. But that's another thing. It's like how many coaches I thought so many times, like so many years they have coached, and they're not be able to win championships because it takes time. In college, when sometimes you have ones and dones and people transferring, it just takes time to win championships.
So when it comes to March Madness, the moment is now. We're going to take our shot. The moment is now for us too. I can't wait to go back and look on this and see how incredibly wrong we both were. But let's call our shot right now. I think to put a bow on the college basketball season, let's predict our Final Four, and then we'll get to a different Final Four in a little bit of a different sense. But first off, let's look at the bracket. You know, Michigan, Arizona on the right side, Illinois, UConn on the left side. I've already said I'm back in the UConn Huskies on the left side. I think Dan Hurley just brings so much experience, and Terrace Reed can take over a game when it comes down to it. I think that's something that maybe Brad Underwood and his band of European guys might not be able to surpass, especially. Experience is a big thing, you know, living up to the moment, and you got guys on UConn like Alex Caravan who can really live up to the moment and be present because they've been there before, and I think that's an underrated factor. On the other side, you mentioned you think the team that wins this game between the Michigan Wolverines and the Arizona Wildcats are probably going to be the winners in the national championship. I agree with that. Let's see who wins the matchup. I think the Wolverines are an incredible team.
Yeah.
I think what they've done has been great. Axel Lendeborg, like we mentioned, is insane. He's going to be an incredible NBA player when he gets to that level. Elliot Cadeau was a great transfer for them. And Dusty May, once again, he's been there before. However, Arizona is just so complete. And it's something similar when I talked with people on Iowa's media side when I was at March Madness in Tampa. They talked about how a big factor of the team was that they played together. And that's something that carried them far. That's something that Arizona does really well. They play a great brand of team basketball. And with Burries and Pete and all these guys who contribute at any given moment, and Bradley's incredible as well.
Yeah.
Some of these guys get lost in the fray, but they're all fulfilling a role, and they all play really well together, which is why I think Arizona will handle Michigan. I think it'll be close, but I think they'll handle them. And then Arizona, UConn, it's got to be the Wildcats. Tommy Lloyd gets the national championship amid the coaching buzz rumors with him maybe going to North Carolina.
Ooh.
He shuts everyone up and says, look, I'm a national champion now. You got to listen to me for a little bit. The team is just too darn good. I have Arizona over UConn in the Final Four and the national championship. Luis, what about you?
Oof. After that, I don't know if I can follow that, Charlie, to be honest. But you want me to be honest with you? I picked since the beginning of the season. Well, not the beginning, but watching everything that was like, how it was playing. I picked Arizona on my bracket to win the championship, to win the national championship. And I'm going to stick with that just because everything that you just mentioned, I think they're so talented and so cohesive. The camaraderie and the chemistry is there. That's something that, for example, and we're going to talk about it, the Florida Gators had last year, I feel. I see unity. And Arizona just had that unity. Braden Burris, Koa Peak, I just think that he's so good, man. Koa Peak is so good, bro. That team is so good that they got Bronny James. I mean Bryce Maximus James hitting the bench, man, and he was a good prospect in college. So imagine that how good is that team just to have LeBron James' son riding the bench, riding the Gatorade. So it's just funny. And then from the other side, that's why I says I cannot follow through, man, because you just spoiled what I had on mine. I think that Hurley is going to be able to bring it in, and he talks about how good this guy is as a coach, and also what kind of program he has developed in UConn. UConn always, people talk about UConn, they talk about the women's and how Gino Ariema has been able to do all this stuff with the women's side, but Dan Hurley coming in and being able to have UConn in the Final Four 3 times out of the last 4 years, out of the last 4 editions, he has been able to make it to the Final Four. Is just remarkable. That's why I think that guy might be on the rail to be probably the best coach in college basketball history. I know it's a big one. He's got to be there. We know Mike Krzyzewski and other names.
Oh, you mean all time?
I mean, he's on the road.
He's knocking on the door?
He's not yet. I think. Well, if he wins, he might be knocking on the door.
Woo.
He might be knocking on the door because what he has done in the span of time that he has done it is just insane. But I would take Arizona and UConn to make it to the national championship on Monday, and then I think that Arizona is just gonna win, man. It's gonna be a close game, in my opinion, with Illinois and Arizona, because I saw Illinois that it was like a 1.5 point favorite, so Illinois was favored. So it's pretty surprising, but I think Arizona is just gonna be able to make work, not quick work, but make work of the Huskies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, great minds think alike. We
know.
both have Arizona, UConn.
I know.
We both have Arizona national.
I'm dying with my bracket. Charlie.
I like it. I like it. And great. We're on the same page. You can tell us your thoughts in the comments below on WRUF, home of the Gators, where you're watching us right now on Sports Lab Overtime. Tune in weekdays, 12 to 6 local programming. It's Sports Scene with Steve Russell, Sports Lab with Kevin Winter and the Congregation Nation, and then the Tailgate with Jeff Cardozo and Zach Abelverdi right here on WRUF, home of the Gators. And you can catch all of these games on WRUF 98.1 FM, 850 AM, your home of the Florida Gators, where we will have the coverage of the Final Four in the National Championship. Coverage starts at 3 p.m. on Saturday, and then the National Championship on Monday night at 6 p.m. Listen right here on your home of the Florida Gators. We'll take a little bit of a step aside, and then when we come back, we're going to look at a different Final Four. We're going to see what went wrong for Florida, and then we're going to come to a consensus in a Final Four bracket style of what is the biggest thing that Florida needs to key in on in the offseason, right on the other side here on Sports Lab Overtime, presented by Rally House. Back here on Sports Lab Overtime, presented by Rally House. I am Charlie Jones. He is Luis Rodriguez Combe.
Woo!
Did I get that down?
Yeah, my mom's gonna love you, mama.
Yes.
I got all these people just saying your last name. You definitely gotta cook some meals for them.
Yes,
definitely.
Anything for a couple little brownie points. We talked a little bit of Final Four, and we talked a little bit about the end of the college basketball season, and it's sad as it is, but let's get even more sad. I sometimes to get these feelings out is better.
Yeah.
You got to take everything that's been internalized for a while, and you got to just shout them out into the universe.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It's time to talk about it. Florida falls, obviously, in the round of 32 in Tampa in March Madness. And now it's all eyes ahead on the future. Everything is very uncertain right now. You've had a crop of guys announce that they're going to come back. Isaiah Brown, Alex Lloyd, Alex Kovacev, Isaiah Brown, A.J. Brown, Urban Klavjar.
Yeah, A.J. Brown, he's the one that redshirt, I remember.
Yes,
Yeah.
So some key returnees, but you're still waiting on the big three, and the future of Gators basketball is kind of hanging in the balance here. You don't really know what's going to happen from here on out. So let's take a look at what needs to happen for the Gators to continue their success. And there's been a lot of talk about it on the Sports Lab, on Sports Scene, with Steve Russell right here on WRF 98.1 FM, 850 AM, about Was this season successful? I think the consensus is yes. It was a
You
strong
think so?
season. I think so. Look,
I have a different thought.
well, we'll have to get to that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I think, look, you look at everything from an entire landscape, and when you're 5-4, the expectations went way down. And whenever you're coming off of a national championship, the buzz is there. The feeling of we're never going to lose another game ever again is in the air. You come back down to earth when you start 5-4, and the expectations come into a little bit of a better view, and then you go on the run. You win the SEC. You put up a decent showing in the SEC tournament despite not winning it. And I think that's something that for guys like Micah Hanlogton, who have been a part of this program for a while, who have fought through injury, who have done everything they can to contribute to a team and really be the essence of what it is to be a Florida Gator, to walk away on this season isn't necessarily a low note. I think it's still something that they can hold their head high on, but what's ahead is still very foggy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this season and looking ahead, Luis?
Hey, Charlie, I can sit down and go to therapy and just, use one of the couches. You know how you lean down and you just be like this, like sitting like this?
Yeah.
Because
how long do you think you could go?
Oh, man. I
hours?
Can go for hours.
Days?
Not days, but a couple hours. I would say a couple hours just because I'm already detoxing, let's say, from what happened. And Charlie, to be honest with you, a lot of people say a success just because of what they were able to do in the regular season, but I just still feel that what Todd Golden has created and the vision and the work that these Gators has put on this season and the last 2 years since I got here to the University of Florida, what I've seen so far, I think that the season was really disappointing just because when you are able to just win the SEC and being able to rattle and just dominate the teams that you had, like teams like Texas A&M, teams like Mississippi State. I know that I'm not mentioning two good names, Vanderbilt when they were good, and the only one that they had a trouble with was Auburn, but they were able to beat Arkansas that made it far in the Final Four. Arizona beat them, so you can tell. I think that being able to play and then establish yourself in an SEC play the way you dominated, for me and my expectations, I think the season was a failure just because I had them going to the Sweet 16. I remember at the beginning of the season doing a sports lab with Lance Williams. We both agreed that the Sweet 16 might be I'm going to call it a successful season. But also, the way they started the NCAA tournament this year against Prairie View A&M, dominating that team 114-55. I'm like, okay, they hit the stride. They locked in. They are getting there. And I think that they can make work of this side of the bracket. And then watching that Iowa game. You watch it live. I was at home. I was not paying that kind of money. I think it was still expensive to go to the Benchmark International Arena. And I live in Tampa. That's funny. I just feel that it just gave me a sour taste in my mouth. Just because this team was able to do more the way they strived, the way they were building momentum at the end of the SEC play. And everything was like Todd Golden being able to get 100 wins as a head coach, the team winning the SEC the first time since 2014, being able to be a number one seed one more time back-to-back years, something that teams in the past were not able to do. Another Florida Gators team with a lot of grace with Orford and Noah, they were not able to do that. So I just feel that they just didn't got confident enough. I feel that when it got time and the pipes got tight, they just were not able to deliver, and we saw it. They were not able to establish against Iowa. They were not able to run that fast-paced game that the Gators used to do, and that used to do. And finally, the closer, something that I think we were missing, and you can see it against Duke, against UConn, against those kind of teams, against Auburn here at home. You didn't have that closer, and that guy that said, yo, give me the ball the last 2 minutes of the game, I'm going to take you home. That's something that the team was missing. And we got blessed with Walter Clayton Jr. And being able to see it. But now I think Todd Golden has a big task in your hands because this is the first thing. This is the first time I feel in his years as a Gator head coach, that he's gonna be. We're gonna see what Todd Golden. He's a great coach. If the players are
Pressure makes diamonds.
yeah, exactly. So we're gonna see if Todd Golden is that diamond that Scott Strickland thought he was at the beginning when he hired him. So I feel that it's gonna be good, but I'm also optimistic that he's gonna be able to recruit. He's gonna be able to put a good team, and he's gonna learn from the errors of this season. So
No, I think you're spot on. And
Yeah.
while you were talking, I was crying over here. No, something that you said that really stuck with me is, this is something that Todd Golden has built to the point where the expectation should be high, and where now you're at a crossroads.
Yeah.
And especially in evaluating him as a head coach, as rumors swirl. Now, pretty much it's certain that he'll be the head coach of the Gators next year. But rumors did swirl for a moment.
He better
Where
be.
He might be going. He better be.
Yeah,
You're
he
right,
better
you're
be.
right. You're right. Scott Strickland said, Todd Golden, he's not going anywhere. He's staying right here.
yeah,
Which I loved. But I think you're completely right. This is a turning point. You had a meteoric rise to success. I mean, something that people don't even remember. I was at the season opening game in Jacksonville of last year's season
last year, I remember,
against USF.
Yeah.
I think Florida was ranked like 21st in the AP poll.
Yeah.
23rd, something really low.
because I remember
And-
the year before, my bad, Charlie. I remember that they lost, I think, in the second round of the NCAA tournament.
Oh no. The year before was
Yeah.
the infamous buzzer beater shot in overtime by Colorado.
Oh yeah,
To send the Gators home, which that
I know.
I had just committed to Florida when that happened.
Oh, you
That's
got
the-
committed? You committed to Florida?
I think I committed like a couple days before.
Oh, my God.
That was a dagger straight through the heart,
I
man.
know.
And I was like, oh, what am I going to be walking
But then
into
you see the
with
quick
this?
turnaround.
What am I going to be walking into with this team?
You s-
And then, freshman year, it's a national
I
championship,
know.
which is I think something that has to be framed is, look, this is a team that, and this is really a University Athletic Association where basketball hasn't always been the main focus. And
true.
basketball hasn't always been the main producer of talent, of national championships. It has the pedigree, but the only reason that Florida is now in the conversation of being a new blood is because of how strong they were last year and how that continued into this year. The way you cement yourself is by a third straight year of strong basketball in one of the best conferences in the SEC. The question is, what do you have to do that? And that's exactly what we're going to get into, right? We talked Final Four. Let's talk some more Final Four, but this time it's a Final Four of what does Florida need to do to stay successful. You got two things on your side of the bracket.
Yeah.
I got two things on my side of the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
This is a crucial pivot from looking at last season to moving ahead now. This is a massive, massive point in this era of Gators basketball. What needs to happen for them to stay successful? Let's start with your side of the bracket. I'll call it the Rodriguez side of the bracket.
Yeah.
You got different regions. Maybe we'll make it.
The Rangers got minimized as the tournament was keep moving. But man, two things that come to my mind. The first thing, Charlie, I think is vital for the Gators to improve the shooting. Improve the shooting, being able to just identify if you're going to go out in the portal or you're going to recruit the way you're recruiting. Just being able to get that shooting because the shooting was so bad this year. Orvin Klapser was the best shooter, the sixth man of the year by the SEC, but still I feel that improvement on shooting because we relied a lot. And that's the identity of the Gators, if I'm not mistaken, front court. But still, you got to be able to have those kind of players and kind of identify like the shooters and what you're going to do when the game just gets to a point that you think is not going to go your way and you got to pivot and have a different strategy. And that's what happened against Iowa, Charlie Jones. They were not shooting great against Iowa. 7-4 from 24 from three-point. And then they were not able to establish the rebounding and the play in the paint like they used to do because remember, the Gators were the #1 team in the nation in rebounding, and they probably had the best front court in the nation. But in that game, they didn't have the shooting to be able to support that kind of front court. So I think go get shooters. We need something. Or Boogie Flan, he's coming back. Orvan Klapser is coming back. Just get in the lab the whole summer and start making shots. Go get with what's the name? Little shooter.
Yeah.
Just go with him. I understand. I understand it now. Just get with him and
So wait, you would feel fine
Yeah.
if we get to the off season, we're in the middle of May, and you see a couple videos come out of Boogie Flan or Bon Clavjar shooting on rims that have spikes in the middle.
No.
Yeah, you'd be fine with that.
God. Not
You'd be
even.
fine-
I mean, it might be nothing but net, bro.
Hey,
nothing but net.
look, they might be hitting them from
Yeah.
that point on.
I know. So that's an important thing in my opinion.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and the second one is because there's a lot of stuff that we can, get into it. But I think the second one is important, being able to establish and build that bench early, man. Being able to get players that you can rely on too, on the when the times get difficult, and being able to not only that, Todd Golden, being able to just establish your bench, establish who's gonna play in before you get to the tight spot of the season.
Yeah.
I just feel that having that kind of 7 to 8 man rotation, that it was Orvan Klapser, Isaiah Brown, and Micah Lawton, I don't think wasn't enough. And it was a privilege to just watch that championship thing. You got Thomas Howe coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Denzel Aberdeen coming off the bench. Micah, Irvine, Isaiah, that was a deep bench.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So I think that also being able to establish that as a coach, being able to get the talent to establish that and develop the talent is pretty important in my opinion. Charlie, what you got? I'm pretty curious to see what you got.
Well, I want to touch on something
Yeah.
that you said first. You talk about building the bench, and if you want to find a parallel between the national championship year and this year, there's one. It's that 3 of your best players could be leaving. 3 of them left that year. Martin, Richard, Clayton, all gone. This year, I think we're pretty much under the assumption that Tommy Houck is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Condon said he's 50-50.
Yeah.
In my perception, I think that's closer 75-25. The offers and the expectation of where he could land in the NBA draft and the guaranteed money that you can make right away, I don't think is something that he can say no to. And I think possibly Ruben's probably the closest one to come back.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a similar situation, right? If you're a middle second round pick to high second round pick, which could be where he lands, could be end of the second round, that's guaranteed money, and that's something that sets you up right away. Now, in an era of NIL, is that a little bit different? Yes, of course. But I think that to cement yourself as an NBA player and already get that experience and already get the contracts are something that are going to be valuable to those 3. So you look at the national championship year, you lose 3, you have to refill the bench. You lose 3 again this year, you're going to have to do the same thing. I think you're spot on with building the bench. I think that's a really good point.
Also, I feel that, Charlie, just looking at senior night, Micah Lawton and Savion Lee, they might not be able to come back. And that's either, you mentioned 3. You add those 2, that's 5.
Yeah.
That's a starting lineup,
It's good math,
let's say.
Luis. It's really good math.
Yeah. I'm not like James McDonald,
That's crazy.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
great. Hey, sorry, James.
Yeah, sorry, James. I love you.
Sorry. Yeah, but as a Jersey guy myself, I will say we're not the best at math.
I know.
And I think he could agree. I think he'll agree in the comments.
Bro, I was C.
We stick to pork.
I was D+C on math in school, so it's all good. That's why I'm doing journalism.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Now, you're right. Longton and Lee could be gone.
Yeah.
And that will take me to my side
Ooh,
of the bracket. I'm calling it the Jersey region. The Jersey region of the bracket. It all meets. On the top of the Jersey region, I think one of the biggest things that has been a landmark victory in the Florida career of Todd Golden, and something that he's often been lauded for, is his player development. And I think that's something that's going to be ever crucial in this offseason. Mm-hmm. You're bringing back some strong players already. I didn't even mention Boogie off the top. Boogie Fland is coming back. That's massive.
Yeah.
When you look at the guys that are coming back, Isaiah Brown and Boogie Fland and, CJ Ingram, These are guys who can have a serious impact. And you look at Isaiah Brown from the national championship year to this year, and that
The improvement
change.
has been so big.
Oh, for sure. This is a guy who got spot minutes at times, and I think played in about 12 games that season. He took a massive leap this year into the 8-man rotation, and now next year it could be another big leap
He may be
into
the
the
sixth
starting
man.
lineup.
There's
a chance that he could end up in the starting lineup.
That is pretty true, Charlie. And also, just taking that from you, the highlight of the season for Isaiah Brown is just that sequence. It was the three, the dunk, then the three, and then the dunk again. That sequence against
South
Arkansas.
Carolina,
South Carolina.
Arkansas, yeah.
Yeah. That Saturday, I think it was a college game they gave.
Yes.
Against Arkansas.
He got
that
Odom
sequence.
rocking.
I'm like, man.
The Odom went seismic.
Yeah,
And I don't know that maybe that sequence would have been something that you would have seen out of Isaiah Brown in his year that he was a part of the national championship team.
Yeah.
That's something he was able to do this year under the guidance of Todd Golden. What could he do if he got a shot in the starting lineup? If Todd Golden is able to develop him into a starting rotation type of player, and he's able to do that, then guess who fills his role? C.J. Ingram.
Yeah.
C.J. Ingram steps straight into that spot. And once again, similar thing this year. Spot minutes in games, mostly when the Gators were up big. But he didn't redshirt for a reason, because Todd Golden knew he's got talent. For him to maybe possibly step into that 8-man rotation, similar to the role that Isaiah Brown did this year, he's going to have to make some big strides. He came in and was a much better shooter than I think people thought that he was going to be.
Yeah.
It wasn't a part of his game in high school that was a big spotlight. If that's something that Todd Golden can cultivate and grow to a higher level, he could be a really strong piece in that 8-man rotation.
But also, real quick, Charlie, I remember the last game of the season here against Mississippi State. I was in the sideline film of the game, and I was in front of C.J. Ingram. You said that the shooting was like not too much in high school, but those 2 threes that he chucked against the Bulldogs were able to put the Gators like down 1, and that's when the strive like hit. When it comes down to them coming back against in that last game, that it was pretty much a celebration. So I remember Greg Sankey was here, so it's like it was a big game, and he was able to like just give us that taste of what can I do as a player if you give me minutes, and you can see the word of player development from Todd Golden.
And I think what's especially interesting about C.J. Ingram, he's maybe my favorite player out of the returners so far.
Oh, really?
This is a guy who's been a part of the community. He's from Hawthorne. He's grew up a Florida
Gators
fan.
royalty.
And he came in and he produced in the minutes that he had. And you're right. The spotlight of his first year at Florida is that sequence in the Mississippi State game. And that's stuff that a veteran does.
Yeah.
So if those are the glimpses that we got of C.J. Ingram, what could he do under a full offseason under the guidance of Todd Golden? So I think that's another crucial part, and that's my first team in my Final Four. The other team that I got, you said building the bench as a big key. Mm-hmm. I'm going the complete other way.
Ooh.
I'm going the complete other way. I think the bench is important.
Yeah.
But I think the key disparity from the national championship year to this year was you didn't have one guy you could lean on at every single moment. Look, Tommy Houck showed up in those times when you needed him to. Mm-hmm. And Tommy was incredible this year. He was absolutely outstanding. But in the national championship year, what Walter Clayton was able to do and how he was able to take over a game made him stand out from the rest of the bunch.
We had it way too good, Charlie.
We were spoiled. We're spoiled.
Oh, my God.
What Florida needs heading into this 2026-2027 season is a guy who's proven in college basketball. They need to go in the transfer portal, and this is my second team on my side.
Get Darius Acuff.
True who?
Get Darius Acuff.
yeah, sure, man. Yeah, we'll pull him out of the NBA draft. No, they need a true elite transfer who is incredibly strong in some phase of the game. Now, whether that is a pure scorer or a defensive stalwart, if Rubin is leaving, to fill that spot. There are some really, really good guys entering this transfer portal, and some guys who the Gators have played against who they could be looking at. You look at the 24/7 Sports composite rankings of the transfer portal, and big props to Graham Hall of 24/7 Sports.
Shout out Graham.
Who showed me this and said, "Hey, we got to take a look at this because this could be massive." Dean Thomas of LSU was a guy that Todd Golden scouted and tried to come to Gainesville in his official recruiting process. He ended up going to LSU. Now he's going into the transfer portal as a pure scorer. He's a great point guard who can score at will and really carry a team. You look down the list, 9 and 10 on their rankings are paired Georgia Bulldogs, which I don't know how people will react to that, but I think both of them would be great fits.
Oh.
Samto Cyril, which there's a little bit of history there, especially if Ruben comes back. That would be
quite
interesting. I mean, look.
You might have them practice.
Oh,
my.
we might get a Draymond Green.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Samto Cyril is a really strong player, despite the sometimes issues that he had with his elbows. He's a very good guy who can get you rebounds.
Accidents
who can
happen,
be
bro.
strong defensively. He's similar to Ruben in the way that he plays, just he has a higher scoring output.
Yeah.
He has a way higher scoring output. And then the other Georgia Bulldog, Jeremiah Wilkinson, combo guard, who was incredible for them, led the team in scoring. I think he had 17.5 points per game.
Yeah.
Once again, another guy who can just take over in any moment, and those are the guys that are going to create runs. If you're able to get one of those guys and then fill out the rest of the empty spots with high school and transfer recruiting, could that guy come in and, under the leadership of Todd Golden, become an anchor for this team? I think so. I think that's crucial, and I think that could be a massive key piece. You know, it worked in the national championship.
Yeah.
You didn't really have it at all times this year. When Tommy Houck had a bad night, or Alex Condon had a bad night, who was there to pick him up? You can never fully rely on Xavier Lee.
Mm-hmm.
You can never fully rely on Ruben or Boogie.
Yeah.
Who's going to pick up the slack? So I think a true elite transfer portal player is necessary. And those are my two guys, or my two teams on the side of the bracket. So I got player development and a true elite transfer. On your side, you got shooting and building the bench.
Yeah.
Who makes it to that final two on your side?
I think building the bench, man. I'm just going to die with it because I see championship teams just have bench. I've been able to throw guys all over. And guess what? That's something that I think that these Florida Gators was going to be able to do just because of the way they developed during the season. They were not able to just establish who was going to be that guy, that guy you will go to. So I feel that building the bench will be perfect for this team that we don't know, like we say, who's going to be the closer. So I think that building the bench will be essential just to have that comfort or that cushion depending on what happens during the season, in my opinion. Because with building the bench, you might have different personalities and pretty much different game plans, different schemes and stuff like that. So I would say with building the bench.
All right, well, if you're going to go building the bench, we got to give the fans a good matchup in the final, right? So I'll stray away from going player development. I think that's something that has to happen in the offseason, regardless, season to season to season.
Yeah.
You need a true elite transfer. I'll go straight back to it. You get Deaton Thomas, Samto Cyril, Jeremiah Wilkinson. These are all three guys who are proven in the SEC. These are all three guys who can make a serious difference on this roster. You get any one of the three, I think that's massive. So in the final, we got building the bench on Luis's side. And we got needing a true elite transfer, maybe a Wilkinson, Samto Cyril, or a Deaton Thomas on my side. Let's leave it up to the fans watching right here. Tell us what you think is the most important impact on the offseason for the Florida Gators. Drop a comment down below right here on our YouTube channel, WREF, home of the Gators, where you can see live and local programming 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. every single day. And let us know what you think. If it's something that Luis or I didn't mention, be sure to give us your own Final Four.
Yeah.
Give us your take on it. But also, maybe let us know... I think maybe I got the edge in this match. I think I'm favored by 3.5 points, Luis.
Oh,
3.5 points.
2.5 points. Nah, it's a great detail because that's something that we talk about too, a lot. I feel that we were spoiled, and I remember before March Madness started a couple of weeks ago. I remember that CBS Sports made a post about Walter Clayton shots during March Madness, and man, we had it way too good. You got shots. You got the shots against UConn. I don't even want to think about it. It's
Oh,
so
boy.
good, man.
We were spoiled, Rob.
Yeah, we were spoiled. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Gainesville was beautiful, and the world was beautiful because we had Walter Clayton Jr. And man, that team was so fun to watch, man. Just Elijah Martin, also, and Will Richard. The team was complete. That team was so complete and so good in all the aspects. Like they were, like the committee didn't consider them being like the best team in the nation because you got teams like Auburn. In the other side, you got Duke and Houston. But still, that team was so good to watch, and I feel that is essential. Like what we bring to the table and what we saying here in this Final Four edition of the Florida Gators, is that our key pieces that are actually made and built to have a championship team. So I think that's pretty important. And also, I will tell the fans outside right there that watching this video, just give us a comment and let us know. And if it's something that we're missing, just tell us and let us know that.
Yeah.
Something that the Florida Gators need to have this offseason to be able to have success and being able to just not have success but build the culture, keep building that culture and just making that culture bigger in the basketball program.
Gator boys stay hot.
You
and
already
they got
know.
a chance to heading into next season. That's a wrap on this year's college basketball season. We mentioned it earlier in the first segment. We'll mention it again. You can catch the conclusion of the 2026 college basketball season right here on WRUF 98.1 FM, 850 AM. It's the Final Four starting at 3 p.m. on Saturday on the station, and then the national championship at 6 p.m. on Monday. That'll do it for us right here on WRF, home of the Gators. Like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media as well, WRF 98.1 on Instagram to keep up with everything that happens in the offseason. Look, we're going to get some announcements in the coming days about Thomas Houck, Alex Connon, Ruben Chinyelu, and your first place to find all that is on WRF 98.1 on Instagram. I'm Charlie Jones. That's Luis Rodriguez Combe. Thanks so much for watching.